Okay, and now we will start the questions that, once again, were prepared by the editorial board of the North County News. And in addition to the editorial board, I just wanted to publicly thank a columnist that I think many of you are familiar with in our paper, Anthony Bazzo, who also helped with his questions. And Andy, I don't know if he's here yet, but he will be here tonight, so you can clap right in his face if you like. He'll enjoy that. Since Mr. Degnan went first with the opening statement, Mr. Ball will have the first shot at answering the first question. Again, 2 minutes each. And the first question is a very open-ended question. We wanted to just set the table, so to speak, and that is, if you could get one bill passed in the state legislature, the assembly, describe what it would be. Do you want to stand up?
Mind. Term limits. You know, I have a bill right now, and there are some out there with Democratic support. The New York State legislature is dysfunctional. And the problem is that too much power is concentrated in the hands of too few people. If you look at my race and what has happened to me, you know, to this day, this man, his campaign, he says he's not running a negative campaign, has attacked my military service record. I served for 7.5 years in uniform. He never served a single day. They've spent tens of thousands of dollars attacking that sacred service to this nation. To this day, they've never apologized. I have a sitting state senator, a Republican, who shifted nearly $100,000 into an account that the day before had $600. Also, we just uncovered this. We have a top New York City gay activist from Manhattan who just shifted $250,000 into 2 shell accounts to promote this man's negative campaign against me. Why are they doing that? Because I continue to stand up on the floor of the legislature for the people in this district and beyond. And the powerful, because absolute power corrupts absolutely, have a lot of money. And they're using their positions of public trust for their private benefit. So the one bill that I would love to see, and that really would change the culture of Albany immediately, is term limits. And as part of that, and make sure that you cannot have $1 of outside income when you serve in the New York State legislature. 2 years I promised to go to Albany and fight for you and be a full-time assemblyman. I gave up my job. I work 16, 18 hours a day, and have done so for over 2 years. I have not accepted $1 of income outside the New York State Assembly. But others, like some we know pretty well, are able to keep their jobs and then through private enterprise run their connections and increase their power and their own personal wealth. That needs to be eliminated, and we need to change the culture of Albany from top to bottom. Thanks, Bruce.
Wouldn't it be great if anybody listened to Mr. Ball in the Assembly? Mr. Ball has spent 2 years in the Assembly and has not been the prime sponsor of a single bill, not one. He grandstands in this district. He goes from district to district and talks about, town to town, and talks about illegal immigration, puts up signs about a property tax cap bill, and yet here we are standing here today listening to it's a wishful question and answer for Mr. Ball to step up here and talk about term limits, because he has no voice in the Assembly, folks. He is persona non grata in the body that he's been elected to. Check the record. Now, if I had my druthers, I'd get a little bit more pragmatic. I believe that we could look at health care as a major issue. We could look at energy as a major issue. We could look at Bruce, would you mind asking the audience not to interrupt me? We could look at energy. We could look at health care. We could look at how we fund our schools. But ultimately, the problem that we're facing right now is a crisis of our economic security in the 99th Assembly and throughout the entire state. So what I'm looking for is a systematic approach to what it's going to take to bring business back to New York State. And that means that we're going to have to work together, not only in the 99th Assembly District, but in the legislature. And right now, the Senate is caught on a property tax cap, and the Assembly is talking about a circuit breaker when it comes to how we fund our schools. Well, folks, it's time to elect leadership that brings people together. Mr. Ball asks, am I a Republican or a Democrat? I'm a proud Republican, but my years and my record in public service has allowed me to accept the Democratic nomination, because the Democrats on the other side of the aisle know they're dealing with a man who looks for commonalities, builds bridges, does not strike a match, and tear communities apart. Thank you.
Yeah, actually, I was holding off saying this because I didn't want to appear to anticipate anything untoward, but I will say it now, and that is that both on stage and in the audience, we respectfully request that you respect all of us on stage and that you respect each other so that we may maintain proper decorum throughout tonight's proceedings. And that's only a nice way of saying that we will not tolerate any disruptions of either candidate. And believe me, I will not hesitate to suspend the debate, to call the proper authorities, and have anybody removed who is disrupting either candidate. It's totally uncalled for. We're putting on a professional proceeding, and if anybody here wants to act unprofessional, we can do without you. And I'm sorry to put it that way, but we just can't deal with that tonight. So, okay, question number 2. This is a very simply stated question, and again, in the rotation, Mr. Degnan will go first in answering it for 2 minutes. This is a very simply stated question with about the most profound ramifications for everybody here and who lives here. What is the best way to reduce property taxes?
He just said you were going first. If you want me to, I will. Okay.
As I stated earlier, we're looking at 2 separate bills in the Assembly and the Senate, both of which I think fall short. The property tax cap bill will do nothing to cut our taxes immediately. It's at 4% in the Senate right now. It also does not include the cost of transportation, capital expenditures, or the cost of special education. So here we are looking at this 4% property tax cap. Sounds great. It certainly resonates in my ears, and I'm sure it resonates in yours, but it's short. The circuit breaker bill in the Assembly is based on what we know as the millionaire tax. It's not a bad thing to redistribute how we collect revenue. But on that $2.5 billion that's part of that circuit breaker bill, $900 million of it is unallocated. And that remaining $1.6 billion, how do we know it's going to our schools? How do we know it's going to come back into our pockets? There have been promises out there. So I look at what's going on up in Albany, and I, as a candidate, say, first and foremost, as a student and practitioner of business management, that you have to start with accountability. And the best way to do that is from the bottom up. So I say, yeah, let's have initiative out of Albany that really takes a serious look at this crisis we're facing, the strategic planning that comes out of Albany. But at the local level, let's make sure that our school districts fully deliver quality education and we build in accountability, that we get to a point where administrators and teachers' unions and facility supervisors and all the employees of the school districts understand that when you document and you benchmark and you look to improve on a daily basis, I believe that we can have dramatic impact on cutting the cost of how we deliver our schools in the area. Now, this is a very complicated program, folks, and I look at it and I say, I've looked at the Cahill bill, I've looked at the Galef bill, I've looked at what's in the Senate, and I still don't think there's an answer there yet. Thank you.